Today, our story is an old, scary story, like the stories you might hear from your grandmother, or the stories you might hear with your friends while you are camping in the desert at night and lighting a fire to make tea and coffee. But before we start our story, if you like strange, mysterious, and terrifying things, then you are in the right place. On the afternoon of Sunday, February 25th, 1855, A.D., a woman. She is 48 years old. Her name is Hannah Renson. Her husband and a group of her friends were walking fast. In Sheffield, England, they are walking. The whole group was completely silent because they were very terrified of what would happen next. Behind her and her friends on the same road, there was another, slightly larger group of people who were walking at the same speed, and they were going to the same place. But this second group behind them wasn't intending to enter the building. They were only there to see what would happen here and their friends. They were very annoyed and upset with this group that was walking behind them, but they knew that there was nothing they could do, so they continued walking in silence, while she walked in silence. She couldn't stop herself from thinking, how did I get into this situation? Sheffield at the time was a large industrial city with metal factories everywhere. So many people came to Sheffield to work in these factories. As Sheffield's population increased, the city began building all these residential flats, which were flats or houses stuck together, of low quality, easy to build, and cheap to live in. Here, Kuwa and her husband lived in one of the apartments in these houses and worked in one of the metal factories, which meant that their life was difficult and full of challenges. But recently, their life became more difficult when their eldest son died in a mining accident, which completely devastated both parents. But here, she took the matter more difficult in her grief. She became very isolated and started going to the factory and doing tiring work all day and then returning home immediately. She used to go to her room alone and sit there all night praying and trying. With her dead son, at first, Hannah's husband did the same thing she did. He focused all his energy and time on work, even though it was very tiring and miserable work, but all of this to distract from the terrible sadness he felt. But after weeks and months, Hannah's husband began to return to normal life and began to progress in his life. But he saw that Hannah wasn't doing that. She was depressed and completely isolated. So he encouraged her in the end to start going to church again and spend more time with the people there and to make new friends, and this might help her in. With this sadness here, she actually took her husband's advice and started going to church again, made new friends, and renewed all her old relationships. So don't forget to like, share, and activate the bell button to receive the videos first as soon as they are released, and let the horror begin.